Hello, my name is Ryan Fenwick. Today, I'll be telling you about Mount Rushmore. If I knew what I do now about Mount Rushmore when I visited it, I would have thought quite differently about this fascinating monument. In the book Great White Fathers by John Telford, he explains that in the 1920s, a group of South Dakota historians were trying to figure out how to bring tourists to their state. So they planned to carve cowboy legends into the mountain. So they hired an architect by the name of Gutzon Borglum. Yes, that's his real name, to help them. Gutzon Borglum was an American architect born in 1867 in what was known as the Idaho Territory. Borglum worked for the Stone Monument Memorial Association, but was fired on February 1925 due to mismanagement of funds and I quote, his offensive egotism and his delusions of grandeur. But before he was fired, he destroyed all of his models and fled the state. He also had ties to the Ku Klux Klan, which helped him fund the monument. So overall, not the best guy. But the land of the monument didn't even belong to the U.S. government. In an article by National Geographic about this topic, before the monument was known as Mount Rushmore, the Lakota people called it Tunkasila Sakpe Paha, or it was known as the Six Grandfather Mountains. This was a very important place for the Lakota people. It was a place of prayer and devotion. So the U.S. government signed the Treaty of Fort Laramie in 1868, saying that the land would belong to them. But when gold was discovered on the land in 1877, the U.S. government broke the treaty and took back the land. By August 1925, Borglum agreed to work on Mount Rushmore. Even though they wanted to carve cowboys into them, Borglum thought that they should depict presidents that were instrumental in the country's expansion. Washington. George Washington, who helped in the birth of the country. Thomas Jefferson, who doubled the size of the country through the Louisiana Purchase. Theodore Roosevelt, who oversaw the construction of the Panama Canal, which is a symbol of economical prosperity, and Lincoln, who helped in the preservation of the nation during the Civil War and the ending of slavery. But during the construction, Borglum wrangled the federal government about funding and control of the monument. Borglum's original plan, which is stated in an article by History.com, says that Borglum's original plans were to construct them down from their heads to their waist and chisel a description of the monument on the mountain next to them. But Borglum soon realized he would not have enough room to finish this. So instead, he came up with the idea to build a room behind the heads. So in 1938, Borglum began blasting 70-foot tunnels into the mountain for his Hall of Records, where he would hold the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. But the U.S. government threatened to cut his funding and told him to stop all other aspects of the projects until the heads were completed. But while Borglum was finishing up the heads, on March 6, 1941, he passed away, leaving his son, Lincoln Borglum, to finish the project. But in the end, they ended up running out of funds. And on October 31st, 1941, the project was declared done. The project cost $17 million when it was finished. And then, in 1991, a renovation was done to it, which cost another $40 million. So overall, the U.S. government spent $57 million. From the idea that sparked something worthy of a monument, to its redesign by its puzzling architect, from the theft of its placement to its astronomical price, Mount Rushmore was still completed. And despite all of these things, all of these challenges, it was able to be partially completed, and 20 million tourists marvel at its splendor every year. Thank you.